And I'm not on video. Okay, hang in, YouTubers. We got to figure this out. And Facebookers. Okay, so I'm going to get myself on video. So Facebook people, hang in there. Okay. Okay, it's not asking me to accept my camera. So I'm just going to go. So what you want to do with this full moon, I'm just going to let you sit with this for a little bit while I figure this out, is you want to be able to use this for closure, right? What are you going to toss away from 2021 that you haven't done yet? Just a little bit, what have you not really focused on that you need to focus on? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. So, and that would be, so think about this for a second. Let's just sit with this for a second and say, well, I think I'm okay with everything. No, I bet you there's some stuff or people or jobs or career or something that you have not focused on. Okay, Facebook, YouTube people, I'm going to have to refresh and hope this takes care of the problem. What you can do, there I am, finally. Okay, now we're back in chat again. So hopefully people can find me now. All right. So even though, there we go. Good. So what I want you to do now is to add your birth date and add your birth year. And we are going to answer your questions. And you're going to put it just like it's on. If you're on Instagram, you're not seeing it, but I need your birth time, your place. You don't have to have a birth time. Sorry, I need your birth date, place, and if you have the time. And I need it like May 2nd, like the word May 2 and not 0502, because everywhere in the world, they completely flip it around and it's very different everywhere in the world. Okay. So that's what you're going to give me. And then you're going to, right in the same line, you're going to ask me a question. You're going to ask me a question and I'm going to answer the questions for you. Okay. This is what we do. November 30th isn't enough, hon. All in one line. Okay. One line, November 30th, 1983, whatever your year is, with the question beside it. Okay, all in one line. Thanks. And then we can answer your questions. So we're going to go to Laura right away. And as I was saying, there's this little tinge of a full moon that we want to take advantage of. Okay, so what else is happening astrologically? What else is happening is that on the 15th, which is today, we have Mercury going into Aquarius. And what does this mean? It means we're going to start thinking of around the collective. We're going to start thinking about teamwork. We're going to start realizing that we can't do this. No man is an island. We're going to realize that we are part of some kind of a team. What team are you on? Right? It might be at work, might be at home, might be I'm on team dad or I'm on team mom. It might be it might be global, and you're going to find yourself looking even at global stuff in a humanitarian way. It's just energy is around humanitarianism. And a lot of the news that you're going to receive, because Mercury rules the news as well, is going to be around humanity and what is humanity doing as a whole. Okay, so let's take a look at Laura. What do I need to let go of? Good question, because we've got this little mini moon. And like I said, if somebody isn't, that's going a bit fast there, August 16th, 85. And 1 p.m. Okay, so let's take a look at what Laura needs to what Laura needs to let go of. And you know what I did? I did something wrong here. I need to calculate that again. So we're going to change, because I put in your August. There we go. Now we got it right. AskHollyHall.com. I still have a code on right now, guys. Love25. Love25. If you use the code Love25, you'll get 25% off of my sessions. And it's only got one more day left. So you want to go in there and grab it. Okay, so what do you need to let go of? I remember your chart because you got all that Leo in there. Basically, it's not so much of what you need to let go of. It's more about what you need to actually embrace. And you want to embrace in the work. Let me see. Is it Venus? Venus. Yeah. Yeah. So you want to embrace your own philosophy and your own belief system. And you want to nurture that philosophy and that belief system. Now, a lot of people might think that's spiritual. It could be spiritual. It could be around your belief systems, around your culture or your childhood that you feel is extremely important. This happened to me in my childhood, and it's important, even though it's not important to you, sister. It's not important to you, brother. Mom and dad ain't important to you, but it's important to me. And I'm going to nurture that, and I'm going to hang on to that, and I'm going to coddle it, and I'm going to take care of that, because that is me. That is who I am. Okay. So letting go of, there's a lot of family dynamics around this. There's a lot of family trauma going on around this. There always has been. And so letting go that just because you have your own unique individual belief system, and you need to nurture that, doesn't mean that you have to have full approval from the tribe. Okay. Which is partly your family dynamic here. So the next one we're going to get to is, let me know how that resonates with you. What is the message from source? I feel confused. Okay. So one of the reasons that you're confused is because you are trying to take two parallel situations and have them cross over. In parallel situations, although they're very similar and they're doing the exact same thing, and Pat Novak, I'm going to do from New Zealand, we're going to take a look at yours next as well, is that they're not supposed to cross over. They don't belong to each other. They don't connect with each other. So there's two situations that you're being a liaison to, or you're being a mediator to, and you're kind of like, can't we just all get along? But they're two totally separate. They're going down two totally separate paths, even though they're side by side and they may be mirroring each other. There's two separate things. So the confusion is you making that decision of, first of all, you embracing the idea that they are two completely separate situations, and also embracing that. And that's going to happen for you in April. In April, it seems to be a family dynamic as well, seems to be siblings involved. You have recently, just start at the end of the year of 2021, you've embraced not wanting to keep the peace so much. That is your tactic, is keeping the peace. But you got angry quite a few times in the last couple of months at the end of 2021. So you're not going to do things just for the sake of making other people happy. And now you have to embrace that and embody that. But you're not used to it. This is a whole new layer of you that you're not used to. And they're not used to it either. They're not used to that dialogue. Wait, what? She's not going to get involved? She's not going to help us out? She's not going to work things out for us? right? They're not used to that. So the confusion is that the parallel may be that you have to take a road that they're not able to take or that they shouldn't take. So now we're going to go to, actually, if you can hang in there, Pat, because I've got another person who's in August. So I just want to not have to change a whole lot of stuff and leave it just the way it is. And this is for Rebecca, approximately in Cambridge Memorial Hospital. I don't know. Is that Cambridge, Ontario? Is that Cambridge in England? But I'll just leave things the way they are here. And I'm going to answer your question. Do you have a question? What direction am I taking? What direction am I taking? Okay, so broad questions, like really generic questions on these quickies. Literally, I'm only spending like 2 minutes with you. I'm not even. I'm not going to be able to give you, I'll give you a general answer to a general question. Okay, unless there's something that really stands out, it's going to be a general question to a general answer. It's interesting because you probably nodded your head a lot to the reading that I did before, except yours was about 6 months prior to that, 4 to 6 months prior to that, where you started coming in owning, and not expecting everyone to get along with one another. And that's around the people that you love, people that you care about, specifically friendships, specifically women. And you're also entering into, yeah, I can't work with that. I don't know what you mean by what direction am I going in. That's just, there's like 100 million things, and I'm not psychic. But once I get a dialogue going, I become very clairvoyant, but we don't have time for that right now. So I need more specifics when we're doing these quickies. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the Pat one, and this one is for February. And she's in New Zealand, and she has, I have been working on my money beliefs. How does my abundance look? Also, are there new opportunities I can pursue? So I'll give you an example of some of the questions that if I have your time, I can really look at the housing and that can tell me about the money situation. But I do see one thing going on, so I'm going to mention that in a second. Okay, so some of the questions are, I want to sell my house. When is a good timing? Am I going to get the money that I want for my house? Am I going to go on vacation next week? What's going on? Now, this is harder with this one, but why can't I get along with my daughter? Is it me? Is it them? What's going on with my health? I'm having pain in my back, or I can do a body scan. I might be able to tell for you. You can say I'm having a pain in my back, but the chiropractors and everybody's looking at it and they can't find answers, and they'll do a body scan and I'll find out where it really is pertaining to. Should I leave my husband? Am I in the wrong job? I want to quit, but they've offered me a role. Should I take it? Those are specific questions, right? Like I said, when I'm in a dialogue with you, and you can book through askhollyhall.com, all of this stuff comes up organically as we're in a conversation, because that's when I'm really tapped into you and the energy gets stronger and stronger, and I just get things like it's just insane. Some of the things that I get. I start remote viewing. I can see what's going on in the office. I can see what's going on at home, and etc. Or you might have a question like, what's wrong with my child? Why is she acting crazy? And you're going to give me her birth date, right? That type of thing. Okay, so with this one, I'm specifically seeing money situations will be alleviated by June, okay? By June. And it hasn't been easy, and it has been a struggle, and it has been asking you to speak your truth. You have a very unique individual stance on this. You want to do something very different. And the opportunities have been there, but you haven't reached out to it because you're trying to do things the same. And it's asking you, no, you're not doing the same thing. You're not going to be working for the same place. You're not going to be with the same situation. You're not going to be looking for even the same opportunities that you've been looking for. So if you've been knocking on the same door for the last year, let's say you've been trying some MLM type of businesses, maybe in the healing, because you're a healer, then and you've been knocking on that door and you're spending all kinds of time on social media, etc., and nothing's coming of it, this is time to stop. Okay. Now you might go like, no, I've invested so much time in it. It's not easy for you to change, but something will happen in June that will force you to make that change. And if I could advise you to try to do it earlier, you got to put your unique spin on it and you got to talk. You're actually a very shy, reserved person. When you're motivated, when you're excited about something at the beginning, you're like right in there. But after a while, your light dims very quickly and then you become quite complacent. You're like, but you're someone who needs to be self-employed or work for yourself. So it's not easy that way, right? So hopefully that helps you out. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at Hauda. And she is the 30 of November. And you did it perfectly. You got the birth year. And then the question, will I stop wanting to control things in life? Now, that's a good question. I love that because those types of questions, they're not in material in form. They're more about the evolution of yourself and your soul. And when you have an evolution of yourself and your soul, and let's say trying not to control things all the time, then abundance comes to you. Then you're not in lack as much. Then you kind of strip away a layer that's been holding you back, keeping you from, taking the blinders off, right? Now, okay, so literally next week, this cycle that you've been in, understanding that you cannot speak before you think, and you've got to ask the other person, do you want my advice? Do you want to know what I think? What can I do for you? That's the one is the best one. What can I do for you? They might say, I just want a listening ear. I want to know if you experienced this, or what would you do, right? Get their permission. When you say to them, and this is an NLP technique too, when you get somebody's permission, it clicks in their brain that they're going to now listen to you and most likely take your advice because they've permitted it. You're not controlling them when you ask them for permission. So next week, or right about now, throughout the next week, you're going to find yourself having one more blow up. Sort of, you're very smart, you're very intelligent, and it actually makes you you're very short tempered and quite frustrated with people that don't look outside of the box and don't think outside of the box and don't use their brain, their head. Right. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people use their intuition. They use their gut feeling. They use their emotions. They use their body language. Their body speaks to them what to do and what not to do. That's not a language you're familiar with at all. You're more familiar with being much more scientific, etc. So the frustration that you've experienced is that you're just feeling like they're not thinking with their noggin. Right. So that's another one that you want to strip away from. And you will in the next week. You're going to have one more argument. You're going to have one more debate. And you're going to realize, you know what? This was unsolicited conversation that we're having here. They didn't ask yourself that right away. When you can hear someone talking or someone's communicating with you, ask yourself, what are they saying to me? What are they asking me? Even though they might be telling you, you know what I heard on the news? I heard on the news that A plus B equals C, and nobody can seem to understand that. And it's really frustrating me, right? And you might think A plus B does not equal C, girlfriend, but that's not what she's asking you, right? What is she's telling you something. It seems like she's telling you something, informing you of something, but really she's asking you something. So you ask yourself, what are they asking of me? Are they asking of me to be all ears? Are they asking me to agree with them? Are they asking me to be, they're sharing confidential thoughts? What are they asking? And if you can't find the answer, you say to them, what can I do? Right? Are you asking me to agree with you that A plus B equals C? Yes, I am. Okay, well, I don't agree with you. Zip it. No, when you take control, that is what you'll do when you take control is you'll follow up with because blah 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 blah, right? And then you're trying to control the situation. You just leave it at that. Then they will ask you, why don't you agree? And then you want to ask them, do you want the Reader's Digest version, which is a short version, an edited version, or do you want all the detail? Right? Most people want the short version, and then they'll stack on that. They'll keep asking you more and more and more and more and more. Okay, so there you go. Hopefully that gives you an idea. So this one here is a great question. So he's got, and I talk to a lot of clients. I work with a lot of clients with their children. And Pat says, yes, that helps. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Pat, because I didn't really say a lot. And yet what I said was helpful. So thank you very much. That's great. And then Viridian, I'll get back to you as well. Am I going to have a new job role? Okay, we'll look at that one. So we're going to look at, and have a lot of clients with these sensory perception. Their children do. In fact, I'm not I don't do any diagnosis. Okay, I'm not a medical professional. So do your own due diligence. Once I speak to source and see it astrologically as well. You can use Love 25 for the next 2 days if you want to save 25% at askhollyhall.com. I'm still not finished my website. You know what happens? I'm one of those people too. I get like really gung-ho when something's at the beginning stage, and then I'm like, I don't want to wrap it up. I get distracted with all other things and distracts me from wrapping it up. So that's kind of what I've been doing. When will I overcome? When will he overcome? But do you see that Freudian slip? When will I saw it as I. And then I read it again. I said, no, it said we. So let's start there. When will you overcome his sensory struggle? And would a conventional state school suit him? How can I help him? Okay, so we're going to look at that in a second. This would be a longer dialogue, right? But you don't know. Oh, 7 a.m. Okay, good. And I think I know where you're born. So I'm going to do that. Good. I got everything right. So one of the things right off the hop is he is extremely psychic and intuitive. You don't want to take that away. He belongs in the new world. He belongs on the new earth, which isn't going to exist until 2025 and 2030. That's when the molding of it happens. If you listen to some of my previous stuff, you can go on my YouTube channel. I welcome you to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe, Ask Holly Hall, so that you get notifications. You can go back on some of my lives, and I talk about, almost every time I talk about the predictions of 2025 and 2030. He's part of that world. And he does not want anyone to be the boss of him. Very, very strict. In fact, he grows and he flourishes when you make him the boss of him. And how do you do that? You ask him, you use this word. It's a very secret, special word. You know how I said to the person before that she's very cerebral, a lot in her head, a lot of thinking, a lot of processing, very scientific. He has a little bit of that. Don't get me wrong, because he's smarty pants. But he's mostly intuitive, and he picks up like a broadcast everybody's emotions, everybody's feelings. And this is not easy. It's not easy, but it also is going to make him one amazing healer. And so this secret word that you use with empathic people, and you know you're empathic. If you're empathic, you know you're empathic. If you're asking me, I wonder if I'm empathic, you're probably not. Okay. So one of the things that you do with empathic is you use the word feel a lot. Feel a lot. Now, let me digress there. A lot of men won't know they're empathic because men are not raised by society. Okay. And society means media, all kinds of media, job titles, job locations, etc. They're not raised to be in touch with that empathic side, so they may not know. So he is extremely empathic, and you want to use the word feel all the time. And this is hard. It's a language that you've got to learn to practice. And you can even have a dialogue with him. He is going just turned 5. So, and he's pretty smart. He talked quite young, even though he was not quite young. He actually talked in full sentences when he did start talking, because he did everything through sensory at first, and then full sentences when he did. The conventional school is no, not at all, because again, do your own due diligence, but because he's extremely creative, he needs freedom to be able to learn what he wants when he wants. And he also is like I said, extremely creative. So he's everything does have to have sort of a sensory connection. So tactile, like what is this, if they can learn something by interaction, emotionally interacting. He needs a lot of time alone as well. So he has to be in a that classroom that's smaller, so he's not picking up on all those freaking emotions of everybody. And hopefully one that does talk about meditation, talk about mindfulness, talk about quietness, right? And but also one that allows this really curious mind to go all over the place. So when you're using the word feel, this is going to help a lot of you working with sensitive, empathic people, is say, how do you feel about this? What do you feel that we should do? What would you feel like for dinner? What clothes would you feel like wearing today? When do you feel you should do your homework? How do you feel about making your own plans around, your personal hygiene? You're going to use all of these words, feel, and in a way that puts him commander of the ship, unless it's life or death, of course. But when he's in the commander of his ship, you can say something like, what shoes do you feel like wearing today? And he will start to be guided by that feel. You're really this repetition is going to start to make him start to feel, right? So he'll intuitively pick the shoes that he wants to wear. And you might say, you don't want to wear those rubber boots. It's not even raining outside. Doesn't matter. Might have rained 3 days ago, and he decides that he wants to jump in every puddle at school. So he needs his rain boots, right? If you want to know why, say, wow, that's a good choice. Going to jump in some puddles? What do you feel you're going to do with those boots on? Right? So this is a great way to approach him. So hopefully that helps you out. Jasmine says, oh my God, you are right on. I'm just going to see. Cambridge, Ontario. Yes. Okay, good. So I was pretty close. I don't know what the hospital is in Cambridge. I'm not from around here originally. So Howard says, thanks. Brilliant, Holly. Thanks a million. You are spot on. Haha, me too, Holly. That's funny. Okay, I'm going to do Cassandra's. Love it. Charnay says, what's the code to book, Holly? Thanks so much. So it's love 25, and it's good for another day. Love 25 to save 25%. We can focus on that. And I know there's a book on Amazon that talks about the empathic child, but it's for the empathic child. Like, it's for the empathic child to understand themselves. Also, if you have Gaia TV, even if you just get a free month, I don't know if they have free weeks or free month specials right now, but even if you pay 1 month, which is $11, you're American, look for or PM me. And if you're willing to watch it within the next 24 hours, PM me and I'll send you a free share that's good for 24 hours. And it's called Sensitive. And it's actually a documentary about highly sensitive people in all different ways. It's brilliant. It's kind of like a cross between a documentary and kind of set like a movie as well too. Okay. And you know who the main person is in Alanis Morissette. And I think that's because she discovered this highly sensitive in her. So I think that would be, so PM me and I'll share you a link with that. Okay, just started my self-healing. Okay, so let's look at Cassandra. So we're going to look at June. Will I get control of my health and have ultimate health for years and years and years and years and years and years? Okay. I love it. These are great questions. Good job. And 1982, 12:41 p.m. Okay. So I know right off the hop, there's a couple situations for you, and you've got a cycle that doesn't end doom, 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 until the end of the year, at the beginning of next year. And you've been in this cycle for a year. And this is about owning who you are. Okay. It's about finding your voice. That's what you're here to do in this lifetime. This is my voice. This is what I have to say. This is what I have to teach you. This is the information I want to share with you. Okay. So you're going to find yourself really confused about what that looks like. What kind of job title has that description? Right? What type of title in my family life has that description? Where am I able to do that? And you're going to feel like you're really misunderstood in the last year. And you're going to feel like that for the next year while you're starting to let go of a limiting belief that you need to know. And because you need to know, they need to know too. So the one thing with the archetype of the teacher, and you've done this in past lives, is that the teacher has to know when not to teach, right? When is somebody not wanting to be your student, right? So that's the lesson that you're learning. And when do you voice yourself when you find that other people are trying to be your teacher and you haven't asked for them to teach you anything? When do you voice yourself and say, I'm not your student. I didn't ask to be, I didn't sign up for this lecture. Okay. I didn't sign up for this. When, and this is what you're discovering is when can you do that? Can you do that? Are you doing that for yourself? Now, the best way with the Gemini energy here is to start writing, start journaling, everything, everything. What do you think every day? What am I thinking? 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 Okay. And even have a dialogue with the other people. How did you want that dialogue to play out? If it didn't play out the way that you wanted to, or it didn't play out at all. However, there is the money, the love of money energy coming to you in August, I believe. Very, very positive, out of the blue, optimistic opportunity. I can't even describe what it is for you. At actually the end of May and the first week of June, first 2 weeks of June. And there's a few like this cycles. There's another one coming again. So it's not your final one in November and the beginning of December, and then another one in January. Okay, so those 3 dates, I really want you to keep your eyes and ears open. Something is going to come that gives you a very sudden opportunity, financially advantageous to you, extremely financial freedom as well. And part of that may be, I keep seeing something to do with land. Okay, I keep seeing something to do with property, but because it's Uranus, and Uranus is it's extremely unpredictable. And it's also around what you love, what you really love. So it's nature, it's grounding, it's earthly. It's just, I don't know, I keep seeing land and I keep seeing nature. It has something to do with that, right? So it's interesting. It's not a get quick rich kind of approach at all. It is very much embodied in nature. Yep. Yep. Okay. Now, As for your health, because I kind of skipped over that, your health improves when you do these two things as well. You also need a little bit more water than the average bear, and you're extremely sensitive to drugs, supplements, etc. So if you're using them or leaning on them to support, let's say, a weight loss, pill, it's not going to work for you. It will work for everybody else, won't work for you. You're just too overly sensitive to those types of things. So add a little bit more water into your diet, more protein because of the Taurus as well. And using your intuition. What do I feel like eating? Do I feel like you really use your intuition to guide you through what you feel like eating every day? Because you do get bored easily. Good. So then, hello, V. She says she's new. What started my self-healing, love journey, exploring my spiritual side? I felt kind of stuck. So your love journey, you're not in a relationship. Six 10:30 a.m. And then, thank you. Okay, then I'll get to the very DN. I'll get to you after this one. Okay. Now, for the love journey, I'll tell you what your love journey is, sister. And you're coming to a closure of that just now. And you realized in the last 2 years that you're very engaged in the same cycle when it comes to relationship. Whether you're in one or you're not in one, you're going through the same cycle, and it's all around your urgency to create communication in a relationship. Also, the realization that money and financial support, that they can financially support themselves, is extremely important to you, and that you have the same values around that. Materialism is extremely important to you, but you've learned that forcing constant communication, and there's a there's a very colorful side to you, dramatic side to you, and there's a tendency to filter things, and you come across as being louder than you really think you are. You come across as being more urgent than you really think you are. You come across as being more dramatic than you really feel you are. And the interesting thing is that emotionally you get that back. So other people are saying, I'm not yelling at you, I'm not that upset, what are you talking about? Right? And you'll be going, well, I didn't say that I was all that upset. So there's this filter right here. Before it goes out emotionally, it sounds louder than it really is. And before it comes back emotionally, it feels bigger than it really is. Right? It's a really cool side to have, because you're very childlike and excitable as well. Really exuberant and excitable kind of personality. I love it. But you've also been learning what to say and what not to say, when to talk and when not to talk, how to have more of an equal exchange and a communication. And the thing is that that's what's been the problem for 2 years, because you've been letting go of the need to be right, the need to be correct, this urgency that if I don't say this now, something terrible is going to happen. Right? So hopefully that helps you out. So you're going to be over that. Um, And there's a financial in April coming to you as well. Financial abundance. And also can be a relationship if you're not in one. One can be January of 2023, but one can be even earlier than that, which is also December, January, or as early as, come on, Holly, the end of April and the beginning of May. Okay, I can do that. I can journal. Thank you so much. How so much? Wow, so much in there. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, sweetie. Okay, so, and Brooke says no. No, I'm not in a relationship. I think that's what I meant. Okay, good. So now you know. So there's a pretty good chance of a relationship coming for you in those dates that I had mentioned. But you're really working on the communication. So one of the things too is if you're on dating apps, and I had this conversation with a client a couple of days ago, right? So she's like, I haven't been in a relationship for so many years, and it's not coming to me. And I'm like, okay, you work from home. Yeah. What do? You just finished telling me that all you do is go to the grocery store and that's it. You go to and from, or everything you order out, everything it orders in, right? I said, yeah. I said, so you think that the Uber Eats guy or the pizza delivery guy is going to be your man, your guy? That's your limited options, right? And she's like, I said, what are you doing? What are you doing to put yourself out there? And she goes, nothing. Right? So he's not going to show up on your doorstep. Your job didn't show up on your doorstep, right? In most cases, your house didn't show up on your doorstep. Your mortgage didn't show up on your doorstep. Your brand new car that you've always wanted or your secondhand car didn't show up on the doorstep. You had to make these things happen. You had to co-create it, right? So that's the same thing. So nowadays, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, and as we get older, is that we have to use these dating apps, right? So in your case, it's about speaking your truth in that dating app, being vulnerable. Who are you? What do you want, and what don't you want? Right? Very specific, very specific. And some things we are very specific with. Like some people say, like, I will not date a guy who has no kids, or I will not date somebody who's unvaccinated, or I will not date somebody who lives more than, I don't know, 30 miles away, right? These things are important to stay with. I will not date somebody who doesn't like to communicate and listen. You need someone who likes to listen as well. There you go. So now we're going to go to Varin on my Instagram. Thank you for waiting so patiently. And that is July 2nd. 5:20. And she wants to know, am I going to have a new role in my job? And hopefully last year you fought for that new role, because you're not one to always speak up unless you're really urged to do it. And that, let me just look at that new role. Okay, I have to do this a different way. Thank you. So I have to do this differently, honey. So hang in there. There we go. So I want to take a deeper look. So I'm not seeing anything myself. Should have had an opportunity. There we go. Yeah, you're going to have to speak. You're going to have to advocate for yourself on this one. And I believe you'll do it by the end of March. You're going to be upset. You're going to be mad. There's some boundaries. There's some really rigid, outworn patterns in the workplace. You want to be in a position where you can change that, where you can shift that. Okay. And at the beginning of February, you should have had that opportunity. So I don't know if you applied for it, or you spoke to your boss about it, or you've tried to start designing it. And then that'll take place for you in the end of March, beginning of April, but it's not going to be as easy as you hope. There's going to be a huge learning curve around that. And it's a lot of responsibility. And you also can filter things like everything, there's an urgency to everything. Your moon is in Aries, you're fiery. Even though you're Cancer, you're here to be more softer, more understanding emotion, things more on an emotional level, an intuitive level. Okay, that's what you're here to do. And also just want to look at one more thing. No, that's the wrong one. Yeah, so hopefully you've done that advocating. That would have been the first week of February. Even now, you still have a chance till the 17th to still advocate for yourself and just say what you want. And that conversation will happen. It could be as late as November 2022, but I like to see these things happen faster. That's my job. So if you haven't advocated for yourself, you haven't put your foot down and said, this is not the way that things should go, and you need to put me in this position, and you need to get paid more. Okay? Because the pay has to go with it. Good. Hopefully that helps you out. And there we go. Okay. Now let me see if I missed anything. Oh, it looks like I did it twice. The same reading twice. Got the journaling and got hers. And askhollyhall.com. Use the code love25. And got that. I just want to make sure I got everybody. I can't usually do everybody, but this time I can. So there you go, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up. AskHollyHall.com. So thank you for showing up for yourself. And use the love code love25 to save money for the next day. It's available. And every Tuesday, I'm right here. I'll see you. Oh, let me see what we'll see you. We'll see you next time. You are so welcome. Thanks, everyone. Namaste. And then I gotta peek over here and straight.